In this video, we'll demonstrate how you can use SVG icons in your components. So SVG icons are an alternative to using either bitmaps or font icons, and SVG icons have a lot of advantages over bitmap and CSS font icons that we'll discuss in the video. So let's start out by going over here to properties in this, and we can see that in the CSS SVG section there are two properties here called local SVG definitions and SVG linked files. So basically this is for SVG that is defined locally. So if we open this up, we can see some SVG definitions over here, and we'll discuss later how we can actually create these SVG definitions, but for now let's just focus on using them. So in the SVG dialog here where you define the SVG, you can click this preview button to look at all of the SVG icons that you've imported here, and you can see that the SVG icons can be displayed at any size, and you can also basically go and specifically override the fill color. So now the SVG icons are using a red color, and let's go now and choose say a green color, etc. So basically here are all the SVG icons that I've imported now, and let's now go and see how we can use them in the product. So we'll go over to controls, and we'll go to our we'll go and choose an image control. So we'll go there and choose an image, and then we'll define the image name, and you can see that when you pick the image to display now, you can choose either CSS icons, bitmaps that are in your web project, built-in images, or external images. So we'll go there and choose an SVG icon. So here are the SVG icons that have been defined in this component now. So we'll go here and we'll choose a size, and then we'll go and choose a fill color. So we'll go and choose that color over there, and then we'll just choose that database icon over there, click OK, and then save it, and then go over to preview mode, and there we have the SVG icon there. But of course, because it's SVG, it's going to scale nicely, and it's going to render nicely regardless of the resolution of the device that you're rendering on. So if we were to go back here now and edit this, and let's just go there and edit and change the size from 56 pixels to 156 pixels, and then go ahead and run it now, we'll see that the image still looks really good and crisp even at this higher resolution. So this is very similar to font icons, excepting that they're easier to work with than font icons. So if we go back now, and let's go add another image over here, and for this image we're going to basically choose a CSS icon, and we'll choose it say from the material icons library over there, and then we'll go there and choose the size, and then we'll go there maybe and set the let's go and choose a color. Let's go and choose a color of say that sort of orangey kind of color. Click OK, and then go ahead now and then save it. And if we go now to preview mode, we see the icon showing over there. So in many ways it's similar to a CSS icon, but working with SVG icons has a number of important benefits over font icons. They're easier to install, they're easier to publish, and there's also a huge library of SVG icons available on the web that you can incorporate into your project. So in subsequent videos we'll look at how you can import SVG icons that you find on the web, and other ways in which you can use SVG icons in your components. In this video we'll show how you can find SVG icons on the web and then import them into your Alpha Anywhere project. So we have a component over here that we've previously defined some SVG icons for, and if we go over to our properties sheet over here and then go down to SVG icons, you can see that we already have some locally defined SVG icons over here that render as follows. But let's now go over to the web and search for some more SVG icons. So we're going to go now to a website called flaticon.com. There's also another website that I like here a lot called icomoon.io, which also has a lot of SVG icons. But here we are at flaticon.com, and you can see here that on this website there are a large number of SVG icons that you can choose. And one of the nice benefits of SVG icons over font icons is that font icons are basically all monochromatic. It's basically you can set the color, but the entire icon will be either green or red or blue or yellow. But SVG icons, you can see, can be colored. So let's go here and pick this icon set over here, and then just go ahead and download it. So we've downloaded this now, so we'll go here and just make this a little bit smaller and click this download button. We'll save it, and then we'll basically just go and extract all this data to a C:SVG folder. So there we go. We're unzipping our downloaded icons to this folder over here, and we can see that we have a folder here now called Color, Startup, and New Business. So now we'll go back to Alpha, and we'll go here in. So we're inside the builder now for local SVG definitions. So here we are, and we'll click this button here to import a folder of SVG files. So we'll go there and select the folder now. So we'll go to C:SVG, and the one that we just downloaded was Color, Startups, and New Business, and we'll go to the SVG folder and just point to one of the files. So now you can see we've got the folder that contains all of the individual SVG files, and I'll just call it Startup Icons underbar, and then go ahead and click OK. And we can see now that a whole bunch of additional icons have been added over here, and we can see that the icons all have names that basically have the prefix followed by the file name of the file. So now if we go ahead and do preview, we basically see the original set of icons that we had, and then we see our new icons, and these icons are all colored icons. So you can see they display here in a full color, but just like any other SVG icon, they're nicely scalable. So if we scroll down there, we can see there's our icons, and let's go and choose, for example, that icon over there. Sorry, we'll need to go and choose it from the images tag. So we'll go here and add a new image, and we'll go to our image name, and this time we'll go to SVG, and we'll select the size that we want. We'll scroll down here, and we'll select, say, this rocket color over there. Now when we render it, there it renders nicely at the size that we requested, and we've got a nice crisp icon over there. Now this icon over here had the color baked into it, so if we go back to the icon picker over here and we go select, we'll see that basically the first set of icons that we have over here are showing as black, but if we go there and we change the fill color, basically we can dynamically change the color of the icon, and that's because these initial set of icons don't explicitly define a fill color or a stroke color, or perhaps they did explicitly define them but they used a value of inherit, whereas these second set of icons over here are, the color of these icons is unaffected by the fill color here, and that's because these icons were all using hard-coded values for their fill color and for their stroke color. So the great advantage of SVG icons over CSS icons is the ability to specify particular colors for parts of the icon. So we'll pause now and pick this up in the next. In this video we're going to discuss the two different methods of using SVG icons in a component. So in previous videos we've shown how we can import SVG icons from the web, and if we go over to our properties page here, we'll see that we've imported two different sets of icons over here that are defined locally in the local SVG definitions property. So if I go there and preview, I can see basically my two different icon sets that have been imported. But these icons are so-called locally defined. They're actually part of this component, which means that if I were to build another component and I wanted to use the same icons, I wouldn't be able to, because unless I define those same icons locally. So taking the icon definitions and moving them to an external file that you link is a useful technique which then allows you to share the icons with multiple components. So to do that, I'm going to basically go back into my local definition over here, and I'm going to click this button that says convert to linked SVG. So I'm going to go here and call this say my svg1.svg. I'm going to just copy that name to the clipboard over there and go ahead now and click OK. So now it's telling me that basically the local SVG defined over here is going to be blanked out, and I should set the SVG linked file properties to that. So I'm going to go ahead there, click OK, and now go to my SVG linked files and then just simply paste that in. And now if I go over to preview it, my component still renders correctly, because we'll see here under all files that we have a new file here called my svg1.svg. and if I go ahead now and create a new component over here, so if I go over to controls, let's go over to images. So at this point there are no SVG images for this component, so if I go over there to SVG and I say select, you can see there's nothing there. But as soon as I go to the linked SVG property here, so we'll go over there and go to our linked SVG property, paste in our name, go back to controls, now go back to image name, go back to SVG, and then select, and you can see we have all of our SVG over there. So once you've imported SVG into your local SVG definitions, it's often useful to then convert the local SVG into a SVG file that can be linked, so that you can then share that SVG definition among many components. Thanks very much. A common pattern when building mobile applications is to use the list control to create menu lists and to use CSS font icons in the menus. So you can see here we have a list control displaying a menu with font icons, but this is an ideal place where you could also use SVG icons. So let's go back and see how this was done and then change some of the icons to SVG icons. So we'll go back now and we'll see we have a list control over there, and this list control has static data, and in the static data basically we have data that has the menu name, and then we have the icon to use, and this is using a CSS icon as indicated by the prefix CSS icon. And this data over here was inserted by just using sample data, and you can see here we have a sample menu system that uses Font Awesome. And this sample data tells us that we need to set the control type of the icon of the image field to CSS icon. So if we go back here and we look at this field, we can see that the image field that we've set the image type to CSS icon. But let's now go and see how we can also use SVG icons for the little icons in each menu item. So let's go back now to our list, and before I do that I'll just point out that for this particular component I've linked in a file of SVG icons over here. So I've got some linked SVG icons that were previously defined. So I'll go back now to our controls, go back to this list, and then let's go and change the first item here from a CSS icon to an SVG icon. So I'll go there and delete that, and then I'll click insert SVG icon. I'll go there and choose an SVG icon. So I'll go there and choose, say, that icon over there, and that let's go to the second image over there, delete that and say insert, and again I'll choose an SVG icon, and we'll choose, say, this icon over there. So now we've got basically some CSS icons and some SVG icons, and again you can see that we've set the control type here to be CSS icon, but CSS icons work for both CSS icons and SVG icons. So this setting of control type equals CSS icon is going to work for both CSS and SVG icons. So let's go ahead now and render the component, and we can see now that in our menu basically we've got these colorful SVG icons being used as a direct replacement for CSS font icons. Thanks very much for watching.